All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Triaxle podcast. We are here tonight with Alec Senofonte from Titan Tree Service in the Atlas Group. They have a local tree service and landscaping business in the area, very diverse operation. I personally had used Alec many times throughout my career. Runs a phenomenal operation, very, very good reputation in the area. They're pushing about 50 employees right now. Just been pretty neat to see these guys come up. When we first started using them, six, 7, 8 years ago or so. Alec was out, he cut some of the trees for me, and since then, they've had some phenomenal growth, and they're really kicking ass and doing good. So, hey, man, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks,
Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate being here. I was nervous to come on until I saw Rick Masters on the last one, and he's more of a hermit than I am, I know. So it kind of eased things up for me a little bit.
And I'm probably more of a hermit than both of you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So if I can do it, you guys can do it.
Yeah, no, Rick had a great show, though. He did really well, and he's a great guy. So it was awesome to watch him and hear his story.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know a lot of that stuff, and that's what this is all about, kind of like opening you guys up and hearing how you got into it. So yeah, man, let's just dig right in. So, I don't know much about the history of Titan. Am I correct to say that your family or your father had started the tree business?
So my father started it in 2001, which he is a serial entrepreneur. He's had everything from bars, restaurants. We were talking earlier, the courier business. He had a horse shampoo company out in California. He kind of had his hands in a little bit of everything. He had a laboratory at one point. So he's just, an entrepreneur. He knows how to maneuver. And he had gotten into this business in 2001 with my uncle, who was a logger from Moscow. And they started rolling with that and just kept it small for the next probably 12 years or so until I took over and, started just working on my vision and what I wanted to do, keep moving forward with that.
And what is that vision?
Well, it changes. Probably weekly or monthly.
Like most entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Sometimes the vision is regressive and I want to just kind of go back to having 2 crews.
Sure.
And, but most of the time it's, just exponential growth, and, changing the industry, elevating the standards, building something that is a larger company, but still maintains that small business aspect as far as taking care of the people that work for you. And treating them well and making sure that everybody's got, food on their plates and necessity-wise can get their medical attention or whatever they need to have done. But we like to have a family atmosphere and everyone gels really well. We keep the morale high. We could sense when it's starting to go down, we'll do something for the guys or, whatever it takes. But yeah, we want to just keep growing. I don't really have an end goal. I just know we have a trajectory and I'd like to continue that. It's been a really, really good trajectory over the last probably 7-8 years since I did take over. And I'm just building it for my kids, my family, the future. They could do what they want when it's their time. If they want to sell it and cash out, God bless. But for me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'm just in it for the long haul. I just want to stay consistent, have consistent growth. And a lot of opportunities have been arising along the way, which I can't not take advantage of, or at least try. And it's kind of a gift and a curse because I'll take off one hat and delegate something to someone else or hire somebody to do something. And I just kind of jump right into another thing. And I'm back to square one as far as the stress and the chaos goes,
Sure. Well, if you're in business for yourself, I mean, kind of like I was, I wore many hats. We had a diverse business and it's kind of hard. Like you get a little antsy, when things, I don't want to say like going too well, but like when things are going well and easy and you see an opportunity, that's what the entrepreneurial mind and spirit does is you want another challenge. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. It's hard to sit still. I mean, some days, I pray for rain and a little break, but then when it does come, out of my mind, I don't know what to do. I haven't taken a sick day. I don't even know. Aside from being on vacation with my family, I haven't not been in the office. I haven't been out of the office sick in years. I can't remember when I had COVID, my first round of COVID. I was still out in my truck doing estimates by myself, looking at some, bigger jobs that I had to be on site in the woods solo, which, was nice. I got to just kind of get away. No one bothered me because I knew I was out of the office and was going through that. And then I got to just do my thing,
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So you guys definitely have, like, you guys have had some phenomenal growth since I saw you take over and we started working with you. I've seen a lot of innovative equipment come to the area, and also, like you said, the culture that you guys have and the way that you treat people. You guys have a phenomenal reputation around town as far as the people that you employ, and what they say, and they really like working there. And then also your customers. I mean, 5-star ratings all across the board. I see, reviews all the time, hear the name getting spread around. So that speaks to, the leadership and the vision. So I think it's pretty neat. I mean, a lot of times you find, like, in the tree service business, and there's some phenomenal companies out there, like really, really great ones. But then you also have the ones, driving around in an old bucket truck, and the guys don't have insurance, and they, it's kind of like a fly by night type operation. You have to compete against that, which usually financially, sometimes can be tough to do. But you've done a great job selling your service, your name, your reliability. You guys are out on storm work, 24/7, 365. I mean, you're always there. So that's obviously has been a big part of the growth and how you've gotten to that point. And also some of the equipment too. You guys have the first, I don't want to say it wrong, but the knuckle boom crane truck with the saw in it. What's the technical term for that?
Grapple saw.
Grapple saw
truck, knuckle boom grapple saw truck.
First one in the area, as far as I know of. I see you guys investing heavily in those little mini skid steers, so the guys don't have to be dragging the brush. They get to use equipment instead of breaking their back. So I've kind of noticed those little things seem to have gone a really long way for you.
Yes, I mean, sufficiency. Anything that we could do to lighten the workload on the guys, complete jobs in a more efficient and safe manner, and just move on to the next one. I mean, you're either paying the bank or paying the mechanic. We just actually bought this really cool truck. It's a J-Mac dump body. It's a tandem axle. So it's a rear mount grapple truck, but it also has the ability to dump, which is really cool. So it's like one of a handful in the country. And it has a tarp that slides out automatically, so you could chip into it as well. So it kills like 3 or 4 birds in one stone. So we could haul material for the landscape division, stone, soil, stuff like that. And then we're picking up logs, bringing them up to my shop in Tunkhannock to lay down to get ready to split. So we just try to do things, in a manner to where we could utilize one piece of machinery. And that's one of the reasons I started the landscape division, because there was so much symbiosis between what we do with the trees and then, when we need people to come in and repair lawns when we're, in a yard, which we don't do anymore. We lay mats down, but customers asking us, for reputable landscapers, which there are many of in the area. But I figured, why can't we just do it? And I thought about it for quite a while, and tried talking to this one guy for a couple of years, trying to get him on board, back and forth, and finally was able to. And I wouldn't have done it without the right person, in place there to run it. That's going to be super professional and customer oriented. So everything we do, like you said earlier, it's integrity based. We have such good reviews and a reputation because I'm just willing to lose my shirt to make sure it's done the right way. I don't care what it takes or what it costs me. We did a patio in Dallas that we started way too late last season. We couldn't seal it. All the glue was really cracking underneath. There was no way to fix it. We came back in the spring and I could tell the customer wasn't happy. So I just said, we ripped it all out, replaced the whole thing. It cost me, I'm probably in the hole like $6-7 on that job. But at the end of the day,
when it was all said and done, guys spent all the time there, and whatever the length was, a couple weeks,
all the time, chip all the material out. Yeah.
So that job costs you $7,000,
money. And that happens, but
it does.
Again, if you want to keep that reputation and build something for the long haul, it doesn't matter. You have to do whatever it takes.
Sure. And that's a great attitude that a lot of people, it seems the industry is maybe kind of taking a turn and starting to get there because the guys like you kind of setting the standard and they have to follow that. But, contractors in general kind of get a bad rap of that's kind of come up on the podcast before. I personally tried to do business the way that you did business. I didn't care about, the bottom line on a particular job. I cared about my name, and that got us a long way for almost 20 years or for 20 years. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the right attitude, and that's the way to do it. And that'll pay you back tenfold as those referrals come in, and word of mouth is everything.
I think that's why you and I clicked initially, because, I had known you from the past, just seeing your operation and just kind of looking up to it. And when we met, I think we kind of felt, the same about each other, and kind of knew what we were both, doing or trying to do, and making sure we were doing things the right way. And, the friendships form that way when you're with the same people, who have the same aspirations and quality of work,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you guys, Titan Tree, so you do residential work as well as commercial. You're doing some PennDOT work, I see. What all are you involved with that right now?
So Titan is residential, utility. We have we're on our 7th year for a telephone clearance contract. We've got about 8 months a year out of that up in Susquehanna County. District 4 PennDOT, we do right-of-way clearing. So we have road crews out, Pike, Lackawanna, Wayne. We just finished up down in Jim Thorpe. We're in Carbon County, kind of all over industrial. Commercial work, of course, we do as well. But I mean, just with the way things have been going, I just try to take whatever I could get. And, I know we're equipped for it. And, whatever we don't have equipment wise, I'm willing to spend to purchase or do whatever we need to do. For me, incentive is big. Like a lot of the times I see something shiny and I'm impulsive. So I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with it or how I'm going to pay for it. But once I have it and I have that note, I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a motivator.
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Gift and a curse. But so we're busy on the roads, which is great, especially in the wintertime, not being able to access properties and residential sites and things like that. But again, we just diversify. Fortunately, we have really, really good staff, administrative and field staff. They're willing to do whatever it takes. We're out all hours of the night doing emergency response work when trees do, the wind blows and trees are falling and laying on structures and things like that. But it's, whole team effort. And we're growing even in the current, situation we're dealing with. It's tough. We're trying to stay a little stagnant right now. Not that we're pumping the brakes, but we're just trying to cruise. We've been growing quite a bit the last few years, and we're trying to just, kind of coast through this until we see what happens, some light at the end of the tunnel.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so you're speaking economy wise and I think we kind of all have I personally have thought for a little while that we're going to see a significant, economic impact on everything going on. I think, with inflation, cost, the just try and, leave the grocery store and not spend a couple $100 for the family. So ultimately, the work around the house starts coming to an end. The good thing is, governmental work, PennDOT work, right-of-way stuff like that type of stuff has to continue for the most part. And there's obviously tree work is a lot of storm damage. You have to take trees off houses. So that's good. That's a little security. I've always been a little bit jealous of the tree guys when it rains for 3 days and I couldn't pave or I couldn't do concrete or do this. I'm like, those bastards are out there making a killing. So there's trees all over the place. So you think. But it's a give and take.
That's why I did get into a lot of the, the government stuff we're doing. It's not as profitable as our residential, but it was safe and consistent and long-term. Like some contracts I have are 5 years and, really they're happy with the work we're doing. We're happy to work for them and just, the constituents of the state of Pennsylvania and just make sure that their hard-earned tax dollars are really going to use and doing things the right way,
Sure. Yeah.
So
you're pushing, we were talking beforehand, you're like 45, 50 employees now. So the past couple of years, industry-wise has been, kind of a nightmare for employee, hiring, retention, just you hear it all across the board. Plus, I mean, the lack of workers in general. How have you guys adapted to that? How have you, how do you maintain that staff?
Retention's been great. The guys that we have, like I said, they're family. We treat them well. They treat us well. They're in it for the long haul. We've had some guys here 15 years. I've had, some of our really, really, top of the line foreman guys have been here 4 or 5 years. And they don't want to go anywhere else. I have a list of probably 10 people that I could call to hire tomorrow, but we're trying to make do with what we have and make sure the guys that we have currently are taken care of. before we, try to do any more growth. And at this point, people find us. I don't have to really look for guys. They're calling the office asking if we're hiring. They see what we're doing. They see how we're treating people, and they want to be a part of it. So
sure,
it's kind of it hasn't been bad for us on that aspect.
No. And safety. You guys are real big on safety.
Yeah. So we brought in a safety supervisor this year, which has been huge. And he's ISA certified. He's super professional. He's been in the industry for, I think, 45 years. So as far as compliance goes, we don't need one. It's not mandated. Like, we don't have contracts that state that we need a safety supervisor. I decided to bring him on board just to better the company and make sure that we're compliant and doing things the right way, and everyone's going home at the end of the day to their families.
Sure. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's been a big change.
Down to it.
Yep.
For sure. 100%. The Atlas Group. So you guys saw the need, saw the demand. You were getting asked. What are you guys doing now with that?
So it started out as Atlas Landscape Contractors, which was a DBA under Titan, just so I could get it kind of rolling as easy as possible. We grew really quick. We're booked out into next summer almost right now with design build stuff. But we switched over. I incorporated last winter to the Atlas Group Inc. just because we wanted to diversify and not just be known as a landscape, design company. We're doing a lot of flat work. We're doing a lot of drainage. We are doing a huge fence job for a very large corporation right now. I don't even know how many linear feet, but it's a big project. So we do everything, from grading, minor demolition, excavating. I don't like to become too broad because then you're not known as, a specialist in your field to a lot of people, even though we are. I've been doing this a very long time, and the people who are with me with Atlas have been doing it a very long time, and they're super thorough. But we do have, our residential design build stuff that we try and keep, a set group of guys on that are super, knowledgeable when it comes to that. We're going to be looking for a landscape architect over the winter and try to kind of, capitalize on the residential aspect, and more so not cherry pick, but be more selective with what we're taking on. We don't need, I tell this to everybody, we don't need work, we need money. You know what I mean? So we don't need to be on jobs if we're not producing any income. I'd rather take 5 jobs, throughout the whole summer that are going to be profitable versus 15 jobs that we're just, not really making anything on. Keeping
the guys busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which, unfortunately, some people in the business just don't understand. And we've all, I made mistakes. I underbid stuff, overbid stuff. You win, lose because of those things. But some businesses just consistently don't really understand the books. They don't really understand the numbers and what it takes to run the business. And I think I was kind of that way. Like when I first started out, you get done with a job and you're like, all right, cool, I got some money. And I wasn't thinking about insurance and all the other shit, But it seems like that mentality kind of, or some people kind of run their business like that, and you have to compete against that because quality, craftsmanship, service, the way you treat people, the way you treat your customers, it's huge. It's big, But at the end of the day, too, people are looking at numbers. And if there's a significant 20, 30, 40% difference in a number, then you're trying to sell your work and what you can do. And to your point, you can kind of cherry pick if you have that mentality. Yeah,
with that end of it. I mean, with us, it's been a pretty heartbreaking year for the tree company. I had some huge opportunities that, we just lost by a thread to companies that were more local to where the contracts were. I had something that would have set up probably 3 more crews I could have brought on for another 5 years. And the company I was bidding against, well, one of them, there was, I think, 7 bidders. We were the second lowest bid, and they had input one of their pieces of equipment into the wrong category. So if they had put it in the right category, then we would have won by, I don't know, I don't want to talk numbers, but we would have won by a very slight margin. And I'm bidding these other jobs that are kind of one-off jobs. And I'm pretty good when it comes to estimating. I was like jobs that are like, $260 or $250, and I'm losing them by $5,000. And then I have on the other end of the spectrum, I bid a job on the interstate, and I was like 2-something, 40-ish. The next lowest bid was $190, I think. And then the winning bid, there was only 3 bidders. The winning bid was $27,000. That wouldn't cover a week of payroll for me. I don't know how they're doing it. But
did they give it to him?
They did.
Wow.
They did.
Wow.
And it was one of those things I probably could have made a stink. Even I wasn't the next in line, so I wasn't going to get it anyway.
Sure.
But I come on and let them eat it. So I didn't raise any red
maybe
flags.
It won't be in your way next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
I've seen a lot of that happened with a lot of demo work that we bid, county stuff. And sometimes you're just like, man, how do they do it? But
they do it. They know something. They're smarter than me, maybe. I don't know. I don't have an education. I didn't go to college. I'm winging this, man. I'm 100% winging this.
Yeah.
Every day I'm just learning something. And I have a lot of people, I network throughout the country with a lot of guys, and I'm not too proud to ask questions.
You have to.
And I appreciate everybody's help. And again, I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the times. I'm just figuring it out as I go.
At least you're smart enough to understand that and admit it.
A little common sense, though. I'm, fortunate enough to have watched my dad kind of maneuver through life, and, picked up on that at least,
Yeah. So did you work under him like high school? Were you involved like from an early age?
Yeah, 14. I started when I was 14. Weekends, my friends would be out hanging out and, partying and stuff like that. And I'd have to wake up early and go kill myself all day. And
you still partied, but then you,
yeah, still
but then
partied.
you had to get up.
Yep. And then it was, I remember waking me up in the morning, I wouldn't get up, shaking me, hitting me, punching me, getting me out of bed. And, you'd think he'd give in, but there was no give. I was going to work.
Yeah.
And, looking back, obviously I'm appreciative of it, but, little hard. It was a little hard.
Yeah.
And then summers, but it turned into the fact that I don't have an education. I didn't do well in high school. Kind of that mindset to where, like, what am I going to do? I don't have anything to fall back on. I'm at Penn State Worthington working 60 hours a week, taking a Shakespeare class at 10 at night, my first semester there, just trying to get credits. And I'm like, what am I doing? So I bailed on that.
How long did you go to school for?
2 months.
Yeah.
It was less than a semester.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, figured I'd just bail on that and go to work full time. And then I was just told so many times that, I'm not smart. I'm not going to, really amount to anything. I just wanted to prove people wrong. So that was kind of the catalyst. And then you have that whole silver spoon thing too. If people have the misconception to where, I was given something or handed a business, or because I'm in a family business, you get that a lot,
Sure.
So I wanted to prove people wrong there. So proving people wrong is kind of what sparked everything that I'm doing, to be honest with you.
That's a big motivator.
Yeah.
That's a big motivator. So how you didn't do well in school? Like, I couldn't sit still.
Can't sit still.
Like, was that what your issue was? Like, I couldn't focus, couldn't sit still. I could go down to shop class and I was content, happy as could be.
Yeah. I was at a insurance billing class down in Jersey last month, and it was a 2-day class, 8-hour days, like straight sitting there, you get a lunch break. And I left day 2, like halfway through it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't absorb, that information. And like, I have too many things on my mind,
Sure.
Like when you get into bed at night, everything starts clicking. Like you just think about that person you forgot to email back, or all these little things. And it's just like
Sure.
anxiety starts going during the day. I'm numb to everything. There's only one way you could really, truly be successful. You can make money, but if you're stressing about it all the time, it's not doing you any favors. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've seen so many things, I put out so many fires. Every day there's going to be something, and me worrying about it or getting frustrated isn't going to change it.
Not going to change.
So I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
Sure. That's a great attitude.
So,
I personally, I used to get a little too worked up over stuff. And I have kind of noticed like your demeanor and some things, just different challenges come up, and you definitely handle it very, very calmly. And that's a great,
I don't think I've ever yelled at any employee I've ever had, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
That makes one of us.
Yeah. I'm just like, obviously if it's something major, then, it gets handled, but
Sure.
in a calm and collected way,
No, that's a great trait. I think that's a lot of, so as I'm starting to kind of network and talk with a lot of guys across the country as we develop this app and start, getting it out to the users. We all have people in the blue collar industry, like the trade businesses. We all kind of have similar stories. Like, school wasn't for me.
Right.
Couldn't sit still. Just couldn't do it. I went to Montana State for a year. I didn't do great in high school. Didn't do terrible. And I went to school for a year. Couldn't do it. And it kind of just a common theme,
And I had every opportunity, afforded to me. It was just I screwed up, I was at prep. My parents sent me to prep. Was there for a year and a half, went back to Dunmore, finished school there. Again, it's not for everybody. I just couldn't sit still. I could not do it. loved my teachers. I think my teachers, felt the same way about me. I was always respectful, courteous, and it's just one of those things. I kind of knew what I had to do or was going to do, or at least I knew I was going to figure it out, and it wasn't going to involve reciting a textbook.
Sure. Yeah. And I think, for me, like I graduated in 2000, it was kind of just like, you go to college. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't know if that was pushed on you or if you were given the freedom. And my parents didn't push on me. It was society. Like that was like what you're supposed to do. And now, it's kind of neat, like working with, like some guys from BuildWit and seeing the different movements and the different collaborations going on around the country. There's a huge push for the trades. There's a huge push to give these kids the freedom.
They'll be able to name their own price. We just moved, which is another thing. Like we just moved to a horse farm. We're actually homeschooling our daughter next year. Our son's still going to be in pre-K, get some socialization. But, we made the decision based on what we thought would be best for her and her development, to be able to become her own person without anybody telling her what she should be doing or other people, looking at her differently or making her feel a certain way.
Sure.
But we had somebody over there putting a pressure gauge on our well. And he was telling me it's just him, his brother, and his son. And his son, I think, is 14 or 15. And I said, this kid, just keep him in it. He's going to be able to name his own price. There's nobody. You can't find carpenters. You can't find welders, HVAC. And, they make good money now, but when there's nobody left, you're naming your own price.
And it's not like, oh, let's go out and start like just taking advantage of everybody, but getting paid what you're worth.
What you're worth.
For what you do, the commitment, the knowledge, the experience. Yep. I mean, I think a lot of guys undersell themselves in this business. They don't know what they're worth. They don't know. I was guilty of it in my early years in business. I realized at one point, I was like, man, I keep getting hired because I'm way too cheap. I did really good work, really cheap, and then kind of changed. And then we were known like, oh, he's one of the most expensive guys in town. But
and that's okay. You can be selective. And I think exclusivity is a good thing as far as, being held to that higher standard. And you're going to have a niche clientele that are willing to pay for a premium service. It's just, we're not making much more. We'll send out a 4-man crew with, $600,000 worth of equipment in a day. Our hourly rate is not much more than what a guy with the, van and tool belt is making, doing HVAC work or something like that. We should be doing better as far as our size and scale. But again, we do reinvest a lot of our money into the, employees, programs, retirements. We give our guys life insurance policies, like just all those little things that just add up. Our insurance bills are just outrageous. It's absolute racket, what they do to us. Fuel is crazy. It's just, they keep you down, and that's what I'm just trying to get bust through that wall.
Sure. 100%.
Not necessarily be too big to fail, which we're a big fish in a small pond. There's, again, people I network with that are, up here and I'm down here. And I take everything into account that they tell me or try and teach me along the way. And they're older guys, I'm 34. So I'm respectful to everybody, and I know what it took them because I know what it took me just to get here at this age. So I can't imagine, double my age, what it took them to get where they're at in a different market.
At that
trying to retire.
Well, I think, I think like you said, there's name your price, but and I guess I'm going back to it because I try to make the younger guys understand, the next generation understand, and kind of like do our part. Like you are running a successful business. I had a great business. There are so many opportunities available and out there for these guys coming up, whether they work for somebody or have the drive and desire to work for themselves. Right. There's a lot of opportunities out there. And I think bringing attention to that, the way a lot of the people across the country are doing, I think it's a big deal. I mean, I'm kind of concerned, like who's going to put my roof on when I'm 70 years old? It'll probably be me because I'm too picky.
Right. And do it the right way, though.
Yeah.
You'll find someone to put it on, but do it the right way.
Exactly. So that's a little bit concerning. There's a huge exodus coming, a lot of people leaving, and the guys that want to get into this, and I guess I'm kind of just making a little pitch to any of the younger generations that listen to this. Like, there's so many opportunities coming. Right. You have a great thing going. There's a lot of people in the trades and in the blue collar business that are just doing very well. It takes a lot of commitment, hard work, dedication, sacrifice, family time at certain times, but then you have freedom in other ways that you
Right.
couldn't have if you work for somebody else. So
Right.
there's
And
so
for
many.
me, it's just, again, everything's for my kids and my wife. I'm fortunate enough to, be able to have her at home, which I'd rather work 23 hours a day than be a stay-at-home mom, to be honest with you. I don't know how she does it.
It's tough.
Absolutely brutal.
I don't want my wife to listen to this and hear me agree with that, but
it is absolutely brutal, but she does it. And, but it's at the end of the day, she has those memories of just being with the kids every day and, doing whatever they want to do aside from the things that she does as her daily tasks.
Sure.
Which there's a lot of. There's a lot of.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, moving forward, I'm kind of in a weird spot being like in the middle ground of, age-wise, to where I have to just, like you said earlier, innovation. I have to keep innovating and look toward the future. These younger kids on TikTok and social media, and they know all the gadgets. Like, I don't know that stuff. So I have to keep like delving into this. And we were talking about AI earlier. I'm trying to implement that in some of our logistic, routing, stuff, and talking to some people about that. But again, looking at machinery moving forward, if there is another shortage of employees like we've been seeing, if it gets worse and, you really literally just can't find anybody, we have to be able to, keep the ball rolling and keep working. So whether it's mechanized or manual, we're going to be on top of it.
Sure.
And prepared.
Yeah, you need to be. You need to be in the moment, but also be prepared to pivot and adapt because things can change drastically.
Absolutely.
At
Very
any time.
quickly. Yep.
Anytime. For better or for worse. You can't predict the future, but you can be prepared for it as much as you can.
Absolutely. I agree.
So in the tree business, you have like any particular memories or thought or anything like that really stands out, like getting started, whether it's in the tree business.
I remember just coming up, my dad used to fire me all the time. I'd go work for, Perry, general contracting, my buddy Johnny with RLE, bring me on, up at NNL, I'd work for them. And it was, it's some stories we're not going to talk about as far as that goes. But just when I was younger, I remember it just goes to show how far we've come. Like, it was me and 3 other guys at the time. And I think 2 of them probably just got out of MnSec or rehab. And we're in a single cab, dump truck. I'm sitting on some dude's lap I just met 2 days ago, 14 years old, driving up to a job site to go, kill myself, doing whatever we were doing. And, I just think about that kind of stuff a lot. I don't really have any great stories. My memory isn't, I could tell you about a job I bid 6 years ago and every single aspect of it. If I saw the property today, I bid, tens of thousands of jobs. But I can't tell you what I ate for dinner last night.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way.
I think it has to do with me being able to be, like I said earlier, kind of be numb to things and put my emotions aside. I think that goes with my memory too.
Sure. I'm
just if it's not super, super important, then it just goes away.
Yeah. I'm terrible with that. Yeah. I can't remember shit. Like manuals or settings in a camera that my brother had me get. I can't remember that stuff, mechanical stuff. I can't remember shit about what's in this, what motor's in that truck or what, but I think it's selective.
Yeah.
I just don't care enough to want to remember it. So that's funny.
It is.
So where do you see, you're a young guy, you have a bright future ahead of you. You got a long ways to go. Where do you see Titan kind of going? What would be your?
Well, I always want to remain a small business. I want to stay under 100 employees. So whether, it's diversified and we have other companies to kind of offset that, we'll kind of do what we need to do there. But it's hard to say. I just want to keep doing what we're doing. We do a lot community wise. It's funny. You see, I saw a thing on Instagram or something. It said this country singer gave his wife, paid off a school teacher's Amazon wish list while he was sleeping. And it was a headline on this big, I was like, we do that shit once a week. We don't talk about it, but and we don't have anything like they do money wise, but I just enjoy being able to help people in organizations and, to be in that position to where you could change people's lives or lives of animals. We're helping out Griffin Pond with some stuff now. And still have enough left over to eat. That's really all I care about. I don't have toys. I don't have fancy cars. I'm not wearing a Rolex. I just, I wear the same pants and boots for 3 years. You know what I mean? I don't, I don't need much. I'm happy. My kids are happy. They're taken care of. I'm able to get their little quads and toys and we have the new property now. They're fishing and hanging out and I just want to enjoy life. Like, we'll go on vacation once or twice a year. And for me, that's more than enough, because it's like a full-time job, more so when I'm on vacation more than when I'm home,
Sure.
But yeah, I'm grateful to be able to do what I do. I can't imagine sitting in an office. I've seen so many things throughout the state, and, especially throughout the seasons, like these beautiful roads that we work on, and, these different jobs up north that I'm driving through, and sites and meeting people. And I don't know, there's just nothing, I can't put my finger on it. I can't think of what could be a better career than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's super hectic, and it's a nightmare a lot of the times, but
you thrive on it.
I thrive on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to operate.
That's how entrepreneurs, business owners are. It's just if there isn't chaos that you're like managing, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes.
That's it. And I saw we were watching TV one night, which I don't watch much TV, but like right late at night, right before bed. And it was like this show about midget football in like Brooklyn or this inner city, and these coaches who were just like beautiful people, really cared about the kids. And they were interviewing the one guy, and he made a statement. It was, men are capable of amazing things when they lead with their heart. So like that just stuck with me and like resonated. So I don't really know where I want to go. I just know if I keep leading with my heart, I'm going to get there,
Sure. 100%. Yeah. And you guys do a lot of phenomenal stuff around the area. I saw you guys are, for every Facebook like you get on your page, you're donating a couple bucks to the Griffin Pond Animal Shelter.
It's up there.
Is it getting up there? Hey,
they got like 4 days left.
I'm going to start telling everybody around the country, start smashing the like button.
I have to break those payments up. It'll be on a payment plan for that.
Got to take care of those puppies, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's cool. That's what it's all about. That's good stuff, to be able to provide to the community that supports you.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And they support us. I mean, it's especially up here in the Abington, it's like Lackawanna County. It's amazing. It's really cool. Like just the fact that like, people know the company, and the reputation speaks for itself, and always good things. People are coming up to me and saying good things, and that's pretty much what it's about to me. Again, I don't, everything I make, I just put back into the company or invest in something else, or, again, just try and build this long-term machine to where my kids, if and when the shit hits the fan, are going to be okay,
Yeah, sure.
So I'm not worried about myself. I'll be okay. I'll make do.
I think when you become a parent, you kind of get there. I'm of the same mentality there now. Like when I was younger, I was, probably admittedly like selfish, worried about me. How am I going to do this? And now, I'm just in a position where I'm not worried about that anymore, regardless of any scenario. It's all about the kids, family, making sure they're okay. Whether it's, keeping a roof over their head or protecting them, that's what it's all about. So
everything I do now is a means to fund, like I said, we were talking earlier, just like I have a real estate company. I have, 4 or 5 other companies, but the holdings company, it's RXS. It's named after my son, Roman Xavier. And that's just, I buy property and I sit on it and I pay the taxes, I suffer, and, it's a tangible investment that increases in value. If it works for me as far as getting any advertising out of it, if it's a high traffic location, great. But otherwise, I'm not doing anything with it. It's just there because they're not making any more of it. And 20 years from now or 30 years from now, when I'm ready to give it over to them, it's going to be, worth quite a bit more.
Yep, for sure. How did the name Titan come around? Do you know? Or
I don't know. And I kind of didn't like it.
Can we phone your dad?
He's probably not going to pick up if I call him. He's probably with the grandkids.
Yeah.
I don't know how it came along, but I didn't like it. I hated it. I thought it was like super unprofessional and tacky for a long time. And then, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, it just kind of like, I was like, okay, I could work with this, know? And then Atlas is kind of, a mirror of Titan, Greek mythology. I'm really big, and I was always a history buff. So I'm really big into like in mythology too, like Greek, Roman, medieval, like I'm just really into all that stuff. So it was kind of cool. And then, again, 5 letters, my OCD plays a big role in everything.
Oh, so that helped. Did it have to be 5 letters, or it
had to be 5 letters?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Had to be 5 letters. It had to, correspond with one another. Titan is white and black. Atlas is black and white.
Yeah.
So I got some stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. Mm-hmm. Well, it's cool. And, you see a lot of people, like marketing is big, and everybody has their own way of doing it. But the Titan logo is distinctive. I think a lot of people sometimes get very caught up in the details,
Right.
and they go overboard, or
Mm-hmm.
they put so much detail or so much lettering on a vehicle or on a billboard. You don't even know what it is. And your trucks, going down the road, I mean, coming up, and all they have to do is turn the corner a little bit, and you can just you see the black and white, and it's a Titan truck.
Yeah. And so for me, it was about, I knew, again, not having education in general or in the arboriculture industry coming up, I had to self-teach myself everything. And I knew I wanted to build a brand more so than a company, something that people would automatically look and see, even just the outline of our logo, know it's us. You know what I mean? So it's really important to me because in marketing's huge with us. I'm big on, especially on social media, doing, marketing. I have season tickets down at Hershey Stadium for the concerts. We do giveaways and, just trying to get followers to our page. That one follower, it'll pay for season tickets for you. You know what I mean? The one person you get a job from.
Sure.
It's the little things like that. You have to be willing to invest. I invest a lot into marketing. Not afraid to. I'm just do what I have to do. I think it was George Jung. What was that movie? He was the cocaine dealer. But he had a quote, blow. Yeah. My ambition far exceeded my talent.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I thrive off of. And that's my daily affirmation. If I know I'm going to continue to be as ambitious as I am, I don't see how I could ever fail,
Yeah.
And I know I have to cap it at some point just because I'm only one person, but again, not sure where we want to be at the end stage, but I'm trying to build a brand and have books in place. We have people calling us, equity firms from all over, probably every couple months, asking to sit down, go through the books and asking to buy us out, which I'm not even close to ready for, which I don't think I'd ever want to do. So there's a couple different avenues that I know I want to get to, but I don't know which one I'm going to take. I want to make sure that we maintain a reputation, quality work. I don't want to sell out.
Right. But you're creating options every day.
Yep.
Every year you have options, for when you do decide to do that or whatever, but you're building value, building a brand.
Yep.
And ultimately your kids can decide what they want to do with it.
Exactly.
So that's pretty awesome. Cool. Very good. What is the most innovative thing that you're seeing, like in the tree care landscape business now? Like what are you setting your sights on next besides everything? Like what?
I mean, next is going to be a Senofonte. I was down at the plant in Charlotte about 8 months ago, which is a telehandler for the most part, a material handler rather. If you see them at the scrap yards, big machines with the cab that lifts.
The green.
The green.
Yeah, they're pretty slick. Yep. So like one that you can take into residential lots, or is this more like a highway machine?
It would be more for right-of-way work, which our contract does not call for it right now, so I can't invest that kind of money without, I could blow through these trees, but I'm still making the same amount of money as I would with what we have it bid for. So I have to wait on that until the time is right. But that's going to be the next implementation. Unless, by that time, I mean, it's like we went through the dark ages for a long time and then things just started blowing up. Like now, who knows, there might be drones in 6-7 years that, you kind of just set it and forget it.
There could be. I saw a helicopter go over the house a couple nights ago, and it's one of those right away clearing
I'd like to
saws.
Get one of those.
That's there could be drones, shooting flames or chopping the trees. You just never know.
You never know.
Cool.
So right now, we'd like a Senofonte. I mean, there's so many cool things, and that's another thing about this industry. Like, we just have so much cool shit, like toys. I just love I like machines. Like I said, we just moved. I probably spent the last 8 years, you drove by, like just digging holes up there and, nights and weekends, like playing. And, I think I ran out of ground. So we moved.
I know. I'm kind of like in the same boat, a glutton for punishment. Every time I finish a project or like finally get the property done, I sell it and then I go somewhere else. And
I come in at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, hemming and hawing. I'm all stressed out. But then the next day I'm just doing it again or whatever. And I don't know what else to do. I'm kind of just out of my mind.
That's the OCD and well, a lot of business owners are like that. They just have got to keep moving. It stimulates the brain, stimulates the mind. Like you just have to kind of keep moving. Sitting idle is not, I can see a lot of successful business people around the world, around the country that sit idle and do nothing for long periods of time. It's just not how they're wired.
I have scaled back a little bit since, my kids were born, not leaving as early, so I could see them when they wake up, stuff like that. I hate leaving. I don't think I've ever left my children without hugging and kissing them ever. We have like these routines we do. Might be an OCD thing for all of us, but I just hate leaving them when they're sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's just, you go through that day, God forbid something happens. Like, it's just one of those things that just sits
Sure.
in the back of my mind. And I love them. I enjoy spending time with them. My best friends, them, my wife, my dogs. I don't do much. I go to work, I go home. You know, sometimes I eat dinner, and then it's Groundhog Day. Get right back to it.
Yeah. And that's part of the freedom of being self-employed. Like,
Mhm.
you work like crazy. Like, oh yeah, you know, I work 70, 80 hours a week. Not that you want to do it all the time. You gotta split it up. But you can put in the time when you want to,
When
when
you
your
want
kids
to.
are sleeping. You know,
Yeah.
you can do it with, you know, if they're out with the wife doing something, then you can do that. But that's one of the, I guess, the biggest freedoms that you can get from being
Mhm.
an entrepreneur. Yes, you're going to grind. Yes, you're going to work. You're going to work a lot more than
Yeah.
the
The
people
clock's
that
always
have that
running.
9 to 5. But when you want to do something, you can.
Yeah.
And when you want to stay home and put your kids, you know, on the bus or see them off for their day, like, you're able to do that, and then kind of start your day from there. Plus, with technology and phones, everything now, you
Right.
know, like, you know, my career has shifted drastically from where it was a couple of years ago, and now
Sure.
I can work from almost anywhere. You
Mhm.
know, I went out to Colorado this summer with my son to pick up a trailer and just worked along the way. You have
Yeah.
a phone, iPad, and
Yeah, that was great. I saw
that's
that.
all you
That
need.
looked like a really nice thing for you guys,
That was a
bonding
fun,
wise.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun father-son trip, and
Mhm.
that's what it's all about. And, you know, a couple of years ago, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Couldn't. You know, I was married to my business too much at times. I worked in it. I was on the cruise. I kind of, you know, I think we've done things a little bit differently where you've done a better job delegating,
Mhm.
you know, to certain people.
It took a long time to get there to where I trusted myself and people. Like, I only started delegating probably 3 years ago. I did all the estimating, all the office work, took all the phone calls, everything from A to Z, turned wrenches, like, by myself, and just kind of didn't have a choice. I had to bring people in,
You
and
get to that point where you have to.
yeah.
You just bury yourself. And even like up until like we got out of most of the things that we did, like, I was just starting to get there, and
Mhm.
that was after like 20 years.
Yeah.
Because same little bit of OCD, attention to detail, and the thinking to myself, oh, well, why would I pay a salary of X
Right.
amount of dollars for somebody? I can just do their job too. And sometimes I kind of just buried myself when I shouldn't have. So
Yeah.
I have seen, you know, I don't think you're out running chainsaws and running equipment most days. You got a business to run, and that's how it should be. And,
Yeah.
and that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, just
you know?
accept it. I mean, it is what it is, and it's hard for me to accept because I am young, and I feel like maybe I haven't put my time in with that stuff. But again, you see these guys, you know, with major issues when they're older, back problems. I don't want that. I want to be able to enjoy my time with my family. I figured out how to work smarter, not harder. I work a lot. I put a lot of hours in. I do a lot of physical work still. If I'm not working at work, I'm at my farm working, and I probably work twice as hard there
Sure.
manually, than I am during the day. But
Keeps fit.
keeps me the stress and the little bit of manual labor over there. It does the trick.
Yeah, blow off
Mostly
some
the
steam.
stress. Yeah.
I saw a post you made a couple weeks ago. You jumped in a dozer one day and you just pushed all
Oh,
day.
yeah, yeah.
And like that's
5 hours. I had meetings. I just didn't show up.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
didn't
that's
answer
not
my
being a very
phone.
good businessman.
Yeah. It was nothing too pressing, but yeah, it's just like one of those days. It was a nice day, and I was another county over at one of my properties over there, and I had a dozer on site that I just haven't been able to get any of my guys to because we're so busy. Even like my own projects, like I can't get my own guys to do anything. It's the chef orders takeout. I just jumped in the machine. I just wanted to make sure everything's good and the windows weren't broken, and I just started pushing a pile of chips. And like 5 hours later, I'm like, shit. I missed out on some stuff today, but it was great.
But you need that. You need
Mhm.
some time just to kind of like chill out, relax.
Yeah.
I do that. Like I'll go up to our property in Nicholson and I'll just spend half a day brush hogging.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's my therapy.
Yeah.
I love it. Besides like, the gym or something else, like I just like to go and kind of get lost by myself. Still have my phone. If somebody needs me, they can find me.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's nice just to be able to have a little.
And that's nice over at the farm now. Like we have, I don't know, there's probably about 12 acres worth of grass that is manicured. So I spend a lot of time in the tractor now. I throw the AirPods in. If it's a, Sunday afternoon after 12, I'll have a couple beers on the, in the cooler and just kind of cruise and do my thing and just relax.
That's a Sunday afternoon there.
It's beautiful. Beautiful thing.
Gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, hey man, I really appreciate you jumping on. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
No, I appreciate you having me, and again, appreciate all the support from the community and you guys, and I really wish you guys the best of luck. And we're on the app, and everyone else should be if you're not already. and we're going to make this thing blow up. It's already really getting there, and super proud of what you guys have done, and really looking forward to the future with it.
Yeah, man. I think, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And people are just kind of starting to understand, like, you guys are in the tree service business and there's value for you on the app. I mean, you made connections within the first month of it being launched.
I was probably one of the first connections. I mean, I was on there. We talked when you were building it, for months leading up to it, or even a year, but I was on it. And then within the first month we had a hit. I think it was for Phil. But it's going to be just huge. Efficiency is huge. Fuel savings, time savings, that you could be on a job producing, or if it's saving you payroll or, expenses like that, wear and tear fuel, for getting rid of materials in a closer location, every little aspect of it. Like we were talking about earlier, some of the changes you're going to be making are going to be really, really beneficial to everybody, every industry.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
And that was, I kind of started out like very narrow focused. It was clean fill and materials. And then it kept kind of snowballing and it kind of evolved from there.
Yeah. I mean, you have to crawl before you can walk, and
sure.
I think you did it right for sure.
We had to start somewhere, but yeah, I mean, your networking chips, you found somebody to take your chips, to take your brush that'll grind it in an area where, you didn't know that they were there.
Right.
So
yeah, you're talking a 15-mile trip one way to our regular dump site versus a mile down the road.
Right. Can't beat it. I mean, fuel, payroll, everything that's, right now we're not even charging for the app, and that literally, if you do that enough, that's thousands of dollars a month. So.
I mean, it's worth it. Whatever you guys do charge, it's going to be more than worth it.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah. I'm paying.
Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Great chat. Love hearing about it. Tell everybody how, like, for the locals and then even guys across the country, if they want to check you out, how do they find you?
So social media, Facebook, Instagram, Titan Tree Service, Inc. Our phone number is 570-383-9900. We're located in the Mid-Valley Industrial Park in Oliphant, PA. www.titantreeserviceinc.com or www.theatlasgroupinc.com. Websites aren't like really kept up with. I'm just busy, and I kind of do everything regarding that. But, we're always there 24/7. You got a storm, you got a tree on your house, call us. We'll be there immediately. 2 weeks ago, I was at a wedding, got a storm call. I had to deal with that. I had to step out for about an hour and handle that. The guys got right on it, and it was down, in Luzerne County, and took care of it. But that's what we do, and we love to do it.
Awesome. And this also, there's going to be guys listening all across the country. It might be an opportunity for you to link up with other guys that you haven't yet found, to collaborate, communicate, network, even share ideas. So
yeah, networking is absolutely huge in any market, any industry. Building relationships with people, using their knowledge, them utilizing yours. If you have any, I don't have much, but I learn a lot from other people. And
you don't give yourself enough credit.
It's a game changer.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You have a lot of knowledge, and you're learning. You're doing a phenomenal job. So
I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. It was great doing business with you, and I wish you the best of luck in the future going forward. And I think you're going to do some really great stuff, and I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, man. Have a great night.
You as well.
Chat with you another time.
All right.